It seems Iran has a death wish, or maybe it's the other way around. I'm not really sure, but we're going to hop into some freaking Fox News, which take that for a grain of salt. I do not know if they're trustworthy. I think Maria is, if this is the right Maria? I don't know. Let's just get into this and see what's going on, okay? 11th hour meeting, Trump reveals stunning Iran revelation. So we're going to see what's up.
The United States and Iran trading multiple rounds of strikes over the weekend. Iran launching missile and drone attacks on U.S. military facilities across several Gulf states. Our allies, including Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and Jordan, while warning that there could be more incidents in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM forces responding with a new round of strikes targeting Iranian military sites late last night.
Y'all seen that we told them that we got 1,000 missiles pointed on them if something happens to our president. Apparently, they are trying to assassinate Donald Trump. And I'm going to tell you right now, Americans don't do well when you start hurting our own. So like we can sit here and we can tear each other apart, okay? We can tear each other down. But the moment that somebody starts messing with us, you see the Patriots come up out of the woodworks, and we come out hard, we come out fast, and we come out ready to swing Long Johnsons.
President Trump discussing the latest on Fox News this morning. Listen.
Let's go. What's up?
Well, we're taking over the Strait. They have nothing. They've got nothing. So something that nobody knows. Yesterday they had an 11-hour meeting. Everything's 11 hours with these guys. You know, you can't settle a one sentence in 1 hour and 1 minute. It should be 1 minute. And everything was agreed to.
It's not that freaking hard, guys. You guys have got to understand that the deals that we've been trying to make, they're not even really for us. They're for the world economy, right? Like America doesn't need Iran. The only thing that we are going to make sure Iran doesn't do is have a nuclear ability. And that's absolutely fair because look at how untrustworthy they are. Do we really want to give that kind of power to people who can't even sit down and freaking stay true to their word? Like, bro, guys, we have our word in our balls as men, and you ain't gonna break neither one of them for nobody.
Yesterday, and they leave the room, and they call back, and they say, we had to make a couple of changes. I said, changes? They got to make changes? We're not going to make changes. We're going to keep the Strait, and we'll probably run it. We'll become the guardian of the Strait. Maybe we'll call it the guardian angel of the Strait.
This guy's crazy. Trump is so wild with the things he comes up with. And, you know, you got to take him seriously because look at the things he's accomplished. Like, he straight changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and was like, actually, there is no Mexican Gulf. We're America. Now he's trying to buy Greenland and he's offering some billions of dollars or something like that. Dudes, this is crazy. Like, I can't not keep up with the news and not be fascinated with what's going on. For one, if we pop off in freaking World War III, which I know some people are like, it's already started. Well, look, if it started, it's pretty controlled right now. Here, for Americans at least, out and about in the other countries and things like that, there's some crazy going on, but they're not all related, even though they do correlate with one another to some degree because our world is so interconnected. This is absolutely insanulous.
That when we do
Let me know
that,
what you
we're
think.
going to be reimbursed because the other nations are very wealthy. They're on our side, and we can't be expected to do that for nothing.
Yeah.
Joining me now, Heritage Foundation.
But we do need to come together as allies and show the world who they're messing with. If y'all messing with the biggest alliances in the world, you're going to understand really quick what you're getting yourself into. Because if we got 140 something countries that's like, hey, you're not going to do this, Iran, or we're going to shut you down. Together we stand, united we fall. Then it's going to be way harder for you guys to come in and do anything because, like, sure, you've been around 5,000 years. Sure, you have no problem watching all your people absolutely die and suffer and do whatever. We've seen that. We've all seen that. And it's freaking heartbreaking, bro. We care more about their people than they care about their own people. But at some point, you have to understand, Americans care so much about other people that our people are struggling here, that our people are suffering here. And it's absolutely bonks. It's insane, dude.
National Security Vice President Victoria Coates. Victoria, so where do we stand with Iran, in your opinion, this morning? We've had another weekend of strikes traded back and forth. You heard the president.
This is a different Maria I was thinking about.
They have hours of talks. They walk out of the room, then they strike.
Well, Cheryl, good to be with you. Yes, I think that the president's quite frustrated with the Iranians. I think we all are. The deal here is clear, but what he's declared at the end of last week is the ceasefire is over. So he's retained every right to strike them whenever he wants.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. How many Americans were trying to shut Trump down? There's so many of them trying to shut him down. And look, I'm not pro all the BS that's going on. I sit here and like kind of make fun of this and talk like Trump or whatever and all of that because I think it's freaking hilarious. But I'm for the people, okay? I care about the people. I'm just getting into politics and actually starting to kind of get serious about them. But here's the thing that drives me nuts. So many people were trying to shut this man down and make it to where he couldn't do anything. And they were like, well, we're going to stop this war. We're going to shut it down. Well, you know, bud, look at the workaround that was just found. Look at what he did, okay? Because this dude's been doing business deals his whole life. So whether you agree with him or not, whether you agree with what's going on, he knew what was coming. He knew how to get around this, and he did that. And he basically forced Iran's hand to make this situation worse to where there is no quitting now. There is no backing down now. And yet, what are you going to argue it in Congress and Supreme Court? What are you guys going to do? How are you going to argue this, bud? There's a very minimal argument here because of how they're acting and how they're treating our allies. You know what I mean? So instead of sitting here and tearing each other apart, how about we come together and figure out a plan how to shut down the villain in the story, huh?
Wherever he wants. They can't do anything about it. So we saw, 140 strikes last night. Also, very importantly, on Friday, Secretary Bessent announced sanctions on a man named Ali Ansari, who is essentially the banker to the supreme leader. He runs their real estate empire around the world. And
how's it going?
Operating with impunity out of Dubai and UAE. Now that's over. That gravy train is going to get cut off. And that's going to hurt the new supreme leader
I love mashed potatoes.
Where it really does hurt in his wallet. So that's going after the personal finances of the leadership. And I think that's going to start to put the real squeeze on them to force them ultimately into this deal.
Well, I thought that's why I thought, and I emphasized this morning, the fact that you're going after, they were going after U.S. military facilities in Bahrain, in Qatar, the UAE, but, those Gulf neighbors have now turned, Iran into the pariah that we knew they were for decades. But how much are they willing to do about it, I think, is the question.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to do something about it.
Well, that's what we're starting to see here, and I think that's really important. So also, Cheryl, keep an eye on Oman, because Oman is on the other side of the strait from Iran. They're doing a really, really good job economically. They're climbing by 19 points this year in Heritage's Index of Economic Freedom. They're a real success story in the Gulf. Not a huge energy producer like Kuwait or UAE or Saudi, but doing a great job organizing their economy. They should have nothing to do with Iran. They should embrace that principle of free commerce and say, hey, our side of the strait is open. And I think you would see President Trump and the rest of the administration really embrace them. And the fact that Iran took a shot at Oman last night, they're trying, the one that they should be trying to partner with, shows you they don't know what they're doing.
What in the world are you guys doing? You're attacking the allies around you, which you should be partnering with. You should be working with your neighboring freaking countries. And if you don't, because here's the problem. Here's what happens, in my opinion, if the neighboring partners of the United States don't work with the United States, right? They will become a part of the United States, or we will absolutely take over them. Why do you think that we stay engaged in so much conflict? Why do you think that we're so active with the entire world? Because we don't want to give up our dominance, my dudes.
They're just taking pot shots at this point. I don't think there's a lot of command and control coming out of Tehran.
Because you're
that makes the situation even harder to deal with.
There was a lengthy piece, I believe, in Politico this morning about the fact that, the Iranian, we took out so many layers of Iranian leadership that there's no communication happening. And there's really no decision maker. We've been saying that from the beginning. Who are we negotiating with?
Who's in charge
you've
here?
Got completely different.
Because I like the IRGC, I'm pretty sure they're set up basically to be like mass chaos. So if something like this happens, they just keep doing dumb stuff. Like, what are you guys even doing? Who's even, like, what did they call him? The cardboard Ayatollah? Like, bro, who who has the ability to make any decision making here? What, the general that's been hiding, who has not come out, who the supreme leader who we don't even know if is alive? Like, this is the problem, and this is absolutely why we're probably going to find ourselves running most of what's going on over there in time, or we're going to do some chaotic stuff. Like, I'm interested to see what our warfighters do in the upcoming and what this administration does, because right now we're just in murky water. We are unpredictable on what is going to happen, and it's basically like you wake up every day, you check the news, and you see what kind of crazy is happening.
Different factions within, the Iranian leadership, which is, again, been somewhat decimated. And the president has been saying that over and over. We've crushed them. We've killed their military. We've killed their leadership. I mean, so what's left? So it's something we're going to be watching. I want to ask you about China, because China is pushing back on the South China Sea arbitration ruling on its 10th anniversary. Now, this comes in direct response to a joint statement by the U.S. and other allies reaffirming their commitment to maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific region. I spoke to Gatestone Institute senior fellow Gordon Chang earlier, warning against China's expansionist ambitions. Listen to what he told us earlier.
China rejects that ruling, even though it's by treaty obligated to follow it. But the thing here is that it's not just South China Sea anymore. You have China laying a sovereignty claim to part of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, this is just ludicrous. But yes, China is moving towards Hawaii. And we've got to understand how far the Chinese are going to go, because Xi Jinping is not going to stop. He's going to continue going.
Victoria Xi Jinping.
Good luck with that, bud. Good luck with that. Y'all better leave our damn Hawaiians alone.
He is also, he's stated recently that his backing and friendship with Kim Jong-un in North Korea isn't changing, and that he wants to safeguard both countries as global tensions rise. Your reaction?
No, I think Gordon's absolutely correct. China's going to just keep pushing at the edges, keep trying to expand the territory.
Of course, that's what they always do. Look at these freaking douche canoes. I'm going to tell you right now, there are countries that I'm not going to ever in my life. I have no interest in, like, for one, look at this Kim Jong-un, man, that boy fat and fluffy, and he takes from his own people. They got fake grocery stores and stuff over there. They got places, only certain places you can go, and you get rounded up and treated like whatever. And then China, I mean, China's China, dude. I mean, this dude is really trying to fulfill his own freaking legacy, you could say. It's just like, you guys are exhausting, and I know that you guys are just waiting to strike and waiting for your opportunity to take on America and try to take on our alliances and things like that. And you're like, Kim Jong-un's like, I pressed the button. I pressed this button right now. And this is exactly why we don't want Iran having any nuclear ambition, because look what happens. And then you've got China, they're just always out there dancing. When's the last time they've been in conflict? When's the last, sure, they have an impressive military, but when's the last time they used it? Because every time we talk to any of their leaderships or anything like that, and we show them some of our footage and some of the things that goes on in America, they're like, oh my God, we had no idea.
Control, and we really just can't stand for it. And there are a couple of reasons for that, Cheryl. First and foremost, China's the biggest threat for us. If they're starting to encroach toward Hawaii, toward sovereign U.S. territory, toward United States state.
How goofy this dude looks. Look at, hey there, look at me, I'm a big old mushroom. Hi there, boys. This is crazy. This is crazy. Sorry, I had a little phone call I had to take real quick right there, which is really rude, inconsiderate, my dudes. But yeah, I could really care less about either one of these.
Then that has to be pushed back against. But then also, as we look at the globe right now, and we're looking for economic opportunities for the United States, not only is the Indo-Pacific the source of that great threat, it's the source of our greatest opportunity for economic expansion. We have, peer nations like Japan, South Korea. We have huge opportunities in Taiwan, partnership.
That's the other thing. We have all of these alliances and these potential partnerships with these other countries that are surrounding these areas that absolutely want to take over these parts of their region, and the United States is involved in these things, and we back a lot of these countries, so they haven't been able to do exactly what they want. So they might be kind of dancing towards us and being like, okay, well, maybe we do want to see what you guys are actually going to do about this, and maybe we do want to test some lines here. that's okay, I think. World War III might be starting to kick off. We literally might be headed in that direction. So this is one of the reasons that I watch these things, and one of the reasons that I'm starting to get involved, because I want to be up to date. I want to be educated. If I am misspeaking at any time during this, please educate me, because I'm trying to learn and trying to evolve as a human being. I hope that we can politically work with one another, and that these geopolitics can find some level of grounding. But at the same time, with things like this, it looks like our adversaries might be looking for an opportunity to potentially strike or to cause some mayhem.
With Australia, but then developing nations,
Let me know
Cambodia, Vietnam. This is where, and India, an incredible opportunity. This is where the action's going to be going forward. This is where all the growth opportunities are. So it's not just the security threat, it's also the economic opportunity in the Indo-Pacific that really commands our attention here. And that's why we can't stand for China just continuing to try to bully its way into a bigger sphere of influence.
Which makes the stakes so high, considering that
I think that's a lot of what China is, that they're just kind of like bullies, and they kind of like beating their chests like that. Like, let me know if you know in the comments, like, can their economy stand to go toe-to-toe with us? Because I just don't know. Like, can their military survive going toe-to-toe with us? I don't know. I think their technology advancements maybe, but at the same time, I mean, you're talking about countries who don't even touch the budget spending that we allow for our military and that we allow for our spending. Like, dude, I really want to understand and learn. And maybe they think they can come together and the big bads can come together, and maybe we're the big bads and everybody else is I could totally see where that's fitting, but, let's see.
The president invited Xi Jinping to the United States in September for a summit. I want to ask you about Ukraine, because President Zelensky is set to meet with leaders of the EU today in Paris. He's pushing for more defense support from his Western allies. Kyiv is now facing massive shortages. Russia launched missile drone attacks on a weapons facility. That was just
Zelensky slapping Putin's pecker all around, and with help, with aid. I mean, he's getting his pecker slapped through quite a few of us, and we're just kind of. This is the hard part about warfare and about fighting, is there's so many politics, there's so many caution tapes and red lines that you have to cross and that you have to dance around and that you have to be mindful with. So it's very interesting. You watch my other video where I was kind of going over some of the fuel shortages over in Russia. I'm trying to get a little bit better at these things and talking and less and likes and stuff, but it'll just take some time, guys. I really enjoy doing these videos though.
Outside of the city over the weekend, 8 people died, dozens were wounded. Ukraine retaliated. They put more strikes out against Russia's key infrastructure. They went after an oil tanker in the Black Sea Canalway. The Ukrainian military reportedly attacked over 40 Russian tankers in the last few weeks. I mean, are we any closer to ending this almost 5-year war? And I would like to get your comment on the fact
5 years already.
that
It's nuts.
Senator Lindsey Graham, that was his last trip. He was in Kyiv on Friday. And then he obviously came home and he passed away tragically over the weekend. What do you think this means for Ukraine? Because Senator Graham was pushing and said that the Trump administration had agreed to lay down more sanctions on Russia. Is that
get out of here?
Is that stalled now because of Senator Graham's death, do you think?
Oh no, I don't think so. And there's broad bipartisan support for sanctioning Russia and for cutting out Putin's financing for his war machine. And certainly with the United States now far outstripping Russia in terms of energy production. We're at 13.6 million barrels a day. Russia's at 9 and change. If we continue that expansion, Russia becomes less and less of a critical player for us, for United States interests. But
man, and R.I.P. man, Lindsey Graham. I know he was a pivotal influencer in the United States, and I don't know much about him. I don't know much about his politics or anything like that. I know there's a lot of speculation that he was poisoned or something. His dad, I think, died of cardiac issues around 69. He was 71, and he just passed away. So, R.I.P. to him and his family. It's never, this is the thing about covering these things, and even though we're revolving around life and death, it's never fun to see anybody pass away. Sure, there are other individuals in the world who have inflicted evil that it's a little bit less it's less hard to say goodbye to them. You know, it's like, it's easier to be like, well, that was a bad dude. Like Hitler, that was a bad dude. I really don't care about that dude. He hurt so many people, you know what I mean? But like, when you have somebody, you know, you got to think they got families and things like that. So it's always a bummer when covering stuff like this and people pass away and things of that nature. So like I said, man, I care about the people. I really do. I might trash talk and I might joke around a lot and stuff like that. But at the end of it and through and through, I'm a people carer, a people of the care, a carrier people.
I think
people
also,
carrier
you know,
brigade.
Ukraine's been doing a lot of things right, putting a lot of pressure on Russia in terms of
This dude is
its
delusional, I think, on what's going on.
its energy infrastructure, its ability to refine crude oil into actual usable products. So I think that's going to help us get to the table. And that's something Senator Graham said, you know, as he was coming back from this trip, that we were getting some momentum on Ukraine's side. And so, yes, you know, obviously Senator Graham and I didn't agree on a lot of things. He was an absolutely wonderful, warm, funny person. We enjoyed the debate on these various topics. And I really think, you know, from a personal standpoint, the greatest loss for President Trump is that independent voice. You know, Senator Graham had his job. President Trump has his. They were good friends. And the president can trust Senator Graham to just be honest with him, tell him what he thought. He wasn't beholden to the president for a job.
That's
valuable. That was a really, really valuable sounding board, I think. So he will be dearly missed by all of his colleagues, I believe, in the Senate and by the president as well.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Victoria Coates, thank you so much for your perspective this morning. It's great to see you, Victoria.
All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments about this one. It's interesting to cover things like this. Obviously, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a dude sharing his thoughts and commentary and giving a little bit of, putting a little bit of gasoline on that fire, you know what I mean? So I really enjoy doing these types of things. I've had fun. I do not know how Fox is with their news. I've heard some crazy things, so take it for what it is. I will absolutely welcome any feedback, any at all, even if you disagree, even if you don't disagree, I don't know. Like I said, I am not necessarily at this point in my life 100% for anybody other than people, but unfortunately the leaders of our countries be tending to drag us people through the freaking ringer. So just kind of what it is. If you enjoy this content, let me know. Just let me know by hitting maybe the like button or something. It really help out, if you know what I'm saying. I'm just really trying to build a following and a community of people who want to be here. So if you're into that kind of thing, just let me know. It'd mean a great deal to me. It'd mean a great deal. I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you're doing well. And if there's anything that I can do for you or anything that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. I would absolutely love to do that. It would be thrilling. Until then, Tacty out.